Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another video, and this is gonna sort of follow my last few videos. I know in one video I talked about a silly work story, and then another video I talked about how I'm not a big fan of people in general. In this video, I'm going to talk about close relationships ending that I've had. You know and the impact it's had on me, yada yada yada, and all that. I guess I can start off with my ex-wife. One day she just left. Basically, we had had an argument. Things weren't good in our marriage. We had had an argument at some point, and then basically the next day she just left. She just no explanation, no note, anything. She was just gone. Um, we had an ugly divorce, all that. She stole money. It's a whole long, boring story. She left me for another guy that she was having an affair with. I found out, a couple months later, but no big deal. I mean, honestly, when after she was gone, it was like, she's your problem now, buddy. It was the only reason I'm angry with my ex-wife at all is because of the fact that she just left. She didn't have a discussion with me or a note or anything. She just up and left one day, and she stole money from me through the process of the divorce, and just a number of things happened that I'm not happy with. But whatever. It's in the past. She's gone. The end. Um, the other close relationship that I had end was also due to a divorce, just not my divorce. Okay. My parents, I don't really have much of a relationship with either one of them anymore. It's not really by my choice. What happened was back in 2007, my parents, or I'm sorry, my mother decided she had not been happy in the marriage with my dad, and had not been happy in the marriage since the beginning. And you'd have to know my mom. She's a very unique person, and incredibly irritating in a lot of ways. Basically, when she really let him know that she wasn't happy in the marriage, there was a whole lot of unproductive arguing going on, screaming, crying, just these weren't things that would really help with the relationship. And then for the next 5 years, from 2007 till 2012, they both engaged in some destructive behaviors in the relationship, both my mom and my dad. And by 2012, I mean, it was a total mess with them. And then finally in 2012, they did split up. Okay. Now, what was interesting was through the process, I didn't take sides, with my parents' divorce. There was I wasn't on either my mom's or my dad's side. I tried to remain a neutral third party, because I saw it as being both of their faults, what had happened. Of course, if you asked either one of them whose fault it was, they would say it was all the other person's fault. But that's how these things tend to go. Anyway, make a long story short, after the whole thing was over, my dad, after everything was finalized and it was all done and all that, my dad just, he just walked out of my life. And that was pretty much the end. I haven't seen my dad since. It hasn't been since, it wasn't as long ago as 2012, because obviously, if any of you out there have been through a divorce, it takes a while for everything to be finalized. So he had to keep interacting with me and stuff because, and I'll explain why, until it was over. Um, so the last time I saw my dad was probably in 2013 at some point. I haven't spoken to him since, and that was his choice. It's not like I said, to my dad, hey, I don't want anything to do. It was nothing like that. He just chose to stop interacting with me. And whatever. I mean, thankfully, I'm a mature adult, so it wasn't nearly as devastating to me as it would have been as if I was a kid. It's unfortunate, and I don't like it, but I can live with it fairly well. Anyway, now my mom is a funnier story. See, my mom is disabled to a large degree. She has multiple sclerosis. She can still walk. She's not wheelchair bound, but she definitely has mobility problems, and she just has a number of issues. She doesn't drive, so when the whole thing was going on, she was entirely reliant on me and also I'll get to everything. I had to basically do all of the work for her side in the divorce. She didn't really do anything. She's also very much a procrastinator and quite lazy in general as well. So, needless to say, what I did for her, I hired a lawyer for her. What else did I do? Oh yeah, my dad at some point during when they were separated, he decided he was just going to stop paying the mortgage on their home because he had moved out. He had moved in with another woman. So he said, well, he had decided he was going to stop paying the mortgage, which is all fine and good, but obviously foreclosure was in the future when that happened. So, and there was a whole bunch of junk in the house. So guess who went over there every single week to pack her stuff up? I did. And my wife, of course. We both went over there and moved stuff out of her house every week for almost a year because there was so much crap. We rented a storage unit, the whole 9 yards. It was just, it was a mess. And also, she spent her money so irresponsibly, she overdrew it on a regular basis. I had to take control of her finances to prevent them from happening. I mean, it was just really bad. Bottom line is she was completely reliant on me, and she's supposed to be a functional adult. Yeah. Anyway, she was completely reliant on me, and then maybe a few months before the actual foreclosure process completed and all that, she said, I don't feel safe here, yada, yada, yada. And she asked if she could move in with me. And I knew at some point she would have to, at least for a time, live with me due to the fact that her house was being foreclosed on. And I allowed her to live with me and talk about hell. Yeah, it was absolutely hellish having her here for those few months. They were a miserable couple of months. She was very demanding. She wanted everything to be her way, yada, yada, yada. It was ugly. Yeah. And it was the same thing when we were going through, even leading up to when I was getting her stuff out of her house. She was basically arguing with me. Well, you can't pack that. You can't pack this. You can't pack that. It's like, Mom, your choice is either A, I pack it and get it out of here, or B, when they foreclose on the house, you lose all this stuff. Your choice. And she would still fight me on this stuff. So this just gives you a little bit of an insight into her personality. But despite all this, I still continued to help her. She lived with me. It was absolute hell. And also, after when she was here, she was only here for a few months, but I got her into an apartment. I found a place for her. It was pretty good, that takes people like her, people who are somewhat disabled. There's all sorts of assistance for them and stuff. It's not exactly assisted living, but it's sort of like that. I'd call it assisted living light, I guess, because she has helpers that come by pretty often and help her out with stuff. But, there's no 24/7 on call thing. But, she does definitely have a lot of physical help from nurses and stuff. They come by, yada, yada, yada. So anyway, so all that happened. I got her into a place, moved all of her stuff in there. Now, if it had not been for me, she never would have gotten a lawyer, and she probably would have ended up hopeless. I basically saved her bacon. and I got her into this place, right? And all that. So, you know, a few months ago, she changed her phone number. And I haven't heard from her since she had changed her phone number. I'd given her my cell phone, I don't know, 10 times before she changed her number. She never called me. So today I actually went to her house or her apartment because I finally happened to be in the area because there was a state park near where she lives, and I went to check out the state park. So I went to the park first, and then on the way back, I stopped by her apartment. She was there. I knocked on her door, and she said, "Why should I let you in?" And basically, I said, well, you don't have to if you don't want to. I will turn around and leave if that's what you want. She said, no, 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 I'll let you. And she eventually let me in. But anyway, we were talking, and I said, so I guess the phone only works one way. I haven't heard from you since you changed your phone number. Was that intentional? Oh, yes, yes, it was very intentional. Okay, why? She's like, well, you're always very rude to me when you talk to me on the phone. I don't know why I should talk to you, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Now, to be fair to my mother, sometimes I've definitely had a lot of arguments with her. There's no doubt that I tell her exactly what I think about the way she runs her affairs and a lot of her behaviors. And generally, my feedback is not positive because she's acting in a somewhat self-destructive manner, in a foolish manner in a lot of ways. And I just try to, you know, tell her, hey, this may not be the best idea in the world, but it really doesn't matter what I say. She's locked in her little ways of thinking, whether they're correct or not. That's a whole other discussion. Um, and she's basically follows the same exact pattern constantly, won't break out of it. But bottom line is, I gave her my phone number. I wrote it down again. I said, okay, Mom, here's my phone number. If you decide to call me, that's fine. If you don't call me, that's fine too. Whatever you want to do is fine. I mean, that's pretty much the best that I can do. I suspect I probably won't be hearing from her again. I'd be really surprised if she did call me, considering she hadn't called me in like 4 months now, I think it had been. So I don't think I'll be hearing from her. And, it's okay because we have a very, it's just sad. It's really more sad for her. She has pushed everyone out of her life who ever gave a damn about her. I mean, she's really got nobody left. You know, she keeps meeting these people on the internet, these men or whatever. She meets them a few times and she's convinced she's going to marry them. And that's pretty much where she is now. I mean, yeah. And she keeps repeating that pattern over and over and over again. And there's, it seems every couple of months there's some new wonderful guy that's just the best and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I guess the main takeaway from this is even losing people who are close to you is something that is easily survivable, I guess. Uh, I guess it would probably be a lot worse because just to be honest, I had a really hard time. I guess when my grandparents passed on. My grandparents, I had an extremely good relationship with them. My grandfather passed right after I graduated from high school, and that was really hard on me. And my grandmother passed in 2004, and that was also very hard on me. I was very close with my grandparents, and that was rough when they passed on. And that's the only time I've really lost people close to me, and that it really hurt. The other times that I've lost ones close to me have all been pets. You know, obviously I have had pets pass on, and that's always extremely hard as well. But when people just fade out of your life who were once close to you in one way or another, even your parents, if they just kind of go off their rockers and make it clear that they don't want to speak to you anymore, honestly, it's hard to really get super upset about it, especially if you know that you put the effort into it and they just, that's fine, you know. So anyway, there's not really much point to this. It was just kind of relaying some stories. Um, you know, I guess let me know if you've had any similar experiences. I'd be, curious to hear about them. If you did like what you see, as always, please thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.